So my name is Nicolette Mashile. I started my entrepreneurial journey back in 2011. So I then created what I called a cash cow business. And this was something that I found in the space, organically in the space that I was working in. I was a sports coach. So I decided, you know what, if I can be a sports coach, anybody else can be a sports coach. There's nothing special about me, right? But what was absolutely amazing, and that a lot of entrepreneurs are struggling with today, is actually getting that market share. And on all I literally did is I went to the school, negotiated for the contract, and then went back to my school where there were already existing sports coaches, because why? I was studying sports management, and then I connected the two, and then I would take my part of the money and they would take their part of the money. In 2014, I started a business called Bunch of Winners. And again, this was because it came from literally a gap in the market. So I worked in an advertising space, and the company I worked for did not have all the capacity to do all the work that the client wanted, right? So what we then did is that I looked for the gaps within there where we didn't need to subcontract, and one of that spaces was community media and brand activations. So this one day I decided to wake up and I went to my boss and said, listen guys, I'm resigning. And they were like, you can't really resign. I knew I wasn't going to resign because I'd become very invaluable to them. But I wanted to kind of be able to negotiate at a fair platform. And I always feel that when you are an employee, it's not that easy for you to negotiate from a fair platform until they actually start to understand the value that you bring to the company. So I went to my bosses and I said, listen, there's a lot of work that we already subcontract here. Why do you guys not subcontract to us and allow us to build our own businesses so we become more than just an employee? So my bosses were like, okay, no, it's not a problem. Let's create a PR company for you. And I said to them, no, that's not what I want to do. Don't give me something that you think I will be well suited, and ask me what is it that I am good at and what I'm passionate at. And I decided, you know what, let's do some brand activations, because I really love being out in the outdoors. And what was really absolutely for me a great opportunity was the fact that I was already on the contract, which meant that I was already sitting with client. I knew exactly what the client wanted. I knew exactly what the project required. So it was quite easy for me to kind of transition from being an employee into being a third-party subcontractor that they would be subcontracting. So within our deals, my bosses decided, you know what, they actually needed an enterprise development company for their BE scoring, and I would be perfect because they could trust that I could deliver on the work that they wanted. So that's how Bunch of Winners came to be. So here are my lessons. I think lesson number one from me when it comes to entrepreneurship is focus on what you're actually doing. Don't forget, don't get overwhelmed by the clout. Don't get overwhelmed by trying to make the lists, by trying to go to interviews, radio, TV. Focus on what you're doing. At the end of the day, the business still needs to answer to a certain need in the market or in society. Make sure you are still doing that. I think my second pearl of wisdom would be focus on the basics. Make sure you've got an accountant. Make sure you've got a taxman. You don't want the taxman coming after you after you've blown all the money or you've blown all the profits. And also, I think the third thing is trade skills, guys. You know, trading skills is probably one of the best things that nobody ever speaks about. Sometimes you can't afford certain things, but there is somebody out there that needs your skill. And the reason why you are in the market in the first place is because there is somebody that needs your skill. So trade some skills. If you do PR and another person does tax, you trade those kind of things. So as an entrepreneurial network, I think it's very important that we start supporting each other. We start referring each other. And then also, and this for me is very important, buying black is not a business strategy, guys. It's not a business strategy. You need to be good. You need to have a good product. You need to have a good service. We're not gonna buy on sympathy. We're not gonna buy because we feel bad, but we want to support black. And when we support black, we support excellence. So let's make sure it is excellence. So my social media pages are Financial Literacy with Nicolette Mashile, and that is on Facebook. On Twitter, you can find me at I am Coco Mash without the A, so it's I'm actually Coco Mash, wow, English. And then on Instagram, you can find me at Nicolette Mashile.